Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. It is Spiritual 411. I'm so excited that you're here. If you've been following along, I truly appreciate it. Thank you for the likes, the shares, the comments. In any way that you are interacting with me and anything that I'm putting out, I truly appreciate the support because today we're going to talk about shadow work. And shadow work can be something that means different things to different people. So we're going to do a little bit of defining about what it is that we mean it to be here. The first podcast or episode that I started with was hurt people hurt people. And those of us who've not done our shadow work, we're the ones hurting people. And many people will get to recognizing and many people will not. And we're going to talk about those in upcoming episodes, so stay tuned. But what I wanted to talk about today was what is shadow work and how can we move through it? And so shadow work is when you're being brought by spirit to really look at what you're going through, why you're going through what you're going through. So being very self-aware of your negative beliefs, your negative self-talk, the traumas that you have been a part of, whether you were the facilitator or not. Sometimes we have trauma in our life that happened to us and we were the victim, but we don't want to dump into victim energy. And if you have been dumping into victim energy, then spirit's definitely bringing you into that realization. So remember, we can't become overcoming our obstacles and challenges. We can't overcome what it is going on with us until we recognize what it is. And so for some people, the aha moment will be, I've been acting like a victim, right? Some people, it's going to be, oh my gosh, I've been jealous, or I've been criticizing and judging so that nobody else would criticize and judge me, right? Or I've been pushing people out of my life because I have been abandoned, right? So there's going to be a lot of stuff that's kind of hitting you in the face that doesn't feel so good. And that is shadow work. And it's also the dramas, right? The stories that we tell ourselves. I'm not good enough. I don't deserve. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not thin enough. I don't have what other people think is the right thing to have, right? I don't have the right house. I don't have the right job. I don't have the right car. I'm not keeping up with the Joneses, right? Whatever that looks like for you. I don't have the right money. I don't have the right amount of money, right? So all this shadow, all these aspects that are coming up from the subconscious and the conscious, right? So a lot of the subconscious patterning is going to be, I'm always people pleasing because I'm always feeling like I'm under threat, and that was unconscious, right? I was unconsciously being people pleasing because I didn't recognize that I always felt like I was in threat in some way. Like my survival was fight or flight was always on, right? I was always getting that cortisol spike, right? Or that adrenaline rush, that physical moment that made me and I got used to that. Like that became my normal, right? So when I got those rushes, when I got those spikes, then it was like, oh, everything's right in my world, because I didn't realize and recognize that this was not normal behavior. I thought this was normal behavior. I thought being people pleasing was normal behavior. I thought everybody did that, right? And as you get to an age and you get to experience an experiential part of your life where you've had some experience behind you start looking around going, wait a minute, people aren't treating me that way. People aren't giving to me the way I give to them. People aren't being there for me the way that I'm being there for them, right? All of a sudden, the expectation that people are going to treat me the way that I deserve to be treated or that I've been treating them isn't happening. Like that's huge. So now we've gotten to a point in our life where we're starting to recognize this. And I actually saw this meme today that really was perfect. I just wanted to read this out because I thought this was so perfect for those of you who are resonating with this message because you're either going through shadow work or are beginning to recognize what your shadow is coming up. So the meme says, it's honestly so simple. Just heal your family drama, regulate your nervous system, break your addictions, process centuries of cultural trauma, repair your attachment style, reparent your inner child, and develop a spiritual practice that dissolves the boundaries between self and other. Oh, and don't forget to pay your rent, stay hydrated, answer the emails, and remember to seem fine when someone else asks how you're doing. I mean, if that didn't sum up what going through shadow work is like, I don't think I've seen it better. Don't think I've felt it articulated better. And for many of you, you're not able to take care of yourself during this process. For some of you, you're going to lose the job. For some of you, you're going to lose the home. Some of you, you're going to lose the car. For some of you, you're going to lose whatever looked like stability in your life, right? Because it was stability built on a very unstable foundation, right? That stability was it was like a mirage. It was an illusion because it was built on a very rocky or old, rickety foundation that is now coming down. And so what you're doing in this shadow work is you're actually, through all those steps, in whatever steps that you're being brought to take, reparent the inner child, deal with the addiction, become self-aware of how you are negatively impacting your own situation. Are you playing the victim? Are you trying to play the victim? Right? Are you letting other people have your power? So these are all situations that it's coming to the head. And for some of you, it's healing generational trauma. So it's big. It's not just your own stuff. You're also healing family lineage, right? So that's why, you can't keep making the mortgage payment. You can't keep making the money you've been making. You can't keep being there for the people and situations that you were always there for, because again, that's not who you are anymore, or who you're becoming is not that version of yourself. And so there's going to be people and situations, unfortunately, that can't go with you into the new version of yourself. And for some people, that can be a huge aha moment of grief and a little bit of anger. Like, why do I have to lose my job? Why do I have to lose my husband or wife? Why do I have to lose my connection to certain people or certain groups? And it's just because they're not a good foundation for you. They're a rickety old foundation. That when you rebuild the authentic person that you're turning into, when you build that person from the ground up, that is going to be real, stable, built, with the cement supports, with the unshakable foundation. And so there are going to be people in situations that unfortunately it triggers them, that you've done the work, that you are now saying no when you always said yes, or where you're saying I don't do certain things anymore where you always did those things before, right? And so, your patterns are different. Where you're putting your time and energy is different because you now resonate at a higher frequency. And so those lower frequencies of the criticism and judgment, like sitting around and gossiping, right? You don't do that anymore. You don't feel good about that anymore. It doesn't resonate with you anymore. You know, um, overeating, overindulging, over drinking, over self-medicating, whatever it was, right? That doesn't feel good anymore. It doesn't resonate with you anymore. So you're moving on from that. Playing the victim, right? You're not that little inner child anymore. You're now recognizing where that inner child needs to be loved and grown. And so there's a lot of this shadow work that you're going through that it's hard to explain to other people, and chances are you're not going to be able to. That's why you end up losing and people start moving away from you, because you're not that version of yourself anymore. And where you're spending your time, what you're spending your time on, it becomes very isolated, right? Where you are going within, you're becoming the hermit, right? For those of you who do tarot, you're going into hermit mode, right? Where you have to address your own needs. You have to be your own light. You have to be your own power. You have to really learn what works for you, what feels good in your life, where you're resonating. And, for some of you, this is going to be so eye-opening because you've never been this version of yourself before. You didn't know that you craved certain things in your life, like faith and connection to spirit, and compassion and forgiveness and gratitude, right? These weren't your normal go-tos before. But as you move into really moving through the process of shadow work, you're going to find, you're going to find that meditation practice becomes very, very important to you. It's going to become part of your system. It's going to be part of your repertoire. It's going to be part of your daily routine, just like taking care of yourself, just like, it's, setting those boundaries. For some of you, that is going to be such a huge lesson. Setting boundaries isn't being mean, and it's not being harsh, right? Setting boundaries is simply letting people know that you respect yourself, that where you were going too far and putting yourself in a negative deficit financially, spiritually, energetically, mentally, emotionally for others is no longer your normal mode of operation. You're not that person anymore. Now you respect yourself and you're able to say, no, or, can we revisit that down the road or give them some options? I can't do that right now, but, maybe we could get together in a couple days or next week, really starting to look at what you need and really implementing that in the way that, again, it's going to feel comfortable when you start saying no for the very first time. However you say no, because they hear no when you're saying, I can't do that right now. They're hearing no when you're saying, can we get together next week? They're hearing no when you say, any other option you're giving them. When it's not yes, all they're hearing is no. So it's going to take them some practice to understand that you setting boundaries is not horrible. And those who love you, like, they're going to say, okay, all right, well, she can't do it. He can't do it right now, or they can't, give to me what I want right now. But, here's the option and I can live with that, right? There are going to be people in your life that are like, nope, nope, if you can't do it right now, then I'm done. And that's their choice. And you have to not let them trigger you back into that old pattern of going, oh, no, 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 hold on, I can do that for you. Hold on. Let's revisit this, right? No. If they're not honoring you, and they're not respecting you when you're respecting yourself, then thank you. I'll pray for you. Bless your heart, whatever you want to say, right? Um, but that's really what it comes down to, that it is time for you to love yourself. And the self-awareness that you're coming into through this shadow work is really, really important for you not to become afraid of it, right? Don't become afraid of it. Because things are going to be bumpy. Things are going to be hard. There's going to be times when you have to cry it out. There's going to be times where you have to, stay home and watch that movie by yourself, right? There's going to be times when, that book is the thing that kind of pulls you through. Whatever you need to nourish your soul, right? Whether it's a book by an author who's been through it or giving you tips and tricks, whether it's listening to podcasts like this, whether it's praying, finding maybe a group of people, that do anything that's, going to uplift you. Finding like-minded people is going to be so important through this process. But the other thing too is, through this process, it can be hard to know like who is like-minded or where do I find these people. This is one of those situations where you're going to put it out to spirit. Please bring to me the right people in the right situations. And then you're going to have to be open to going someplace new or meeting someone that is different than what you're used to. So there's a little bit of not only you're transforming and the people around you are transforming, but also within you, you're transforming hugely. And you also have to get used to how that's going to feel and look for you yourself, right? Because you may be used to doing certain things that you don't feel good about doing anymore, or the way you're being received is different, right? Because remember, as you change your resonance, the vibration that you resonate at, as you change that from lower to higher, no matter how much you raise your frequency, the people that are still down here in the lower frequencies, they're going to feel a type of way around you, and there's nothing you can do about that. And the people that can't accept that, again, they're gonna move on. Don't let them trigger you. This is where you put up your boundaries. This is where you walk away if you have to, hang up the phone if you have to. But you have to be very committed to this journey that you're on. And the more you're committed to it, the faster it will go. For those of you who are really dragging your feet and you're going kicking and screaming through this process, it will take longer. And so one of the ways to really help yourself through this process is as you're coming into resonance with new people, new ideas, new learning, new growth, new healing, this is where you want to have gratitude for every step that you gain. Every new aha moment, epiphany that you gain, every new synchronicity that shows up. Spirit is helping you along this journey. Are you being, again, aware enough to see where spirit is bringing you what you need? Whether it's the financial assistance, whether it's the new person to support you, whether it's the new book, the new podcast, the new movie, the new meme, right? Whatever it is, bringing you into learning about numerology and how, number patterns showing up are signs from spirit, really starting to learn how um, spirit shows up, bringing song lyrics to your mind or playing that song on the radio at the right time, right? That's not coincidence. That's your spirit guides showing up, helping you move through this process. So becoming very self-aware of, what's going on around you. Eckhart Tolle talks about this in being present, right? Being in the present moment. That if you can stay present, then you're not worrying about the past or, what happened in the past, and you're not projecting into the future. When I get X amount of dollars, my life will be better. That's not how it works. We have to be happy in the present moment. Then when the X amount of dollars come, you're already happy, and it's just a pleasant surprise, or it's just another step on your journey of taking you into this next ability to have certain things, right? Um, you know, buy the nicer house, buy the nicer car, or buy the bigger learning experience, whatever it is. So then you're willing to invest in yourself, or you're willing to invest in things that, are going to bring you long-term joy, not the short-term joy that, a lot of people get stuck into. And especially, when you're going through your shadow work, addiction comes up, and some of us are, we're addicted to retail therapy, right? And so if we don't overcome that, when we do get that big chunk of money, or we start getting, a higher paycheck every week, like if we're not present in the moment and we're not really self-aware of that old pattern, then that money isn't going to feel like it's more. We're just going to spend more, right? So shadow work is really, really about you stepping into the most authentic version of yourself and what that looks like. And being present is very, very pivotal in helping you move through the self-awareness, because if you're present in the moment and you can really be aware of what's going on in every moment, you can start making those changes. You can start seeing where you're self-sabotaging. You can start seeing the people and situations around you that no longer serve you. So being present is so important to the process in helping you really move into making the changes and making the choices that are going to be beneficial to you. And for some of you, that feels very selfish. And that's one of the things that maybe you've railed against, is people in your life who've been selfish and negatively impacted you. So it's like, well, Melissa, how can I become selfish when, that's not a positive thing, right? Well, it's a positive thing if you're being spiritually selfish, right? If you are being selfish where you're honoring yourself, you're honoring your role, you're honoring what you need, right? And in turn, that honors the people and situations around you. So it is the spiritual selfish of kind of taking back your power that is going to feel very uncomfortable for most of you who have had your power taken away at a very, very young age. So you've been powerless most of your life. And so stepping into your power will feel very, very uncomfortable. And it is going to have to be something that you do one step at a time and find the support that you need to make those steps. So shadow work can be very involved because there's going to be many layers of it. But if you can stay present in the moment, you're going to know in each moment what layer you're on, or what layer is coming up to be transmuted, right? Energy can't be destroyed. We have to do something with it. So all of this shadow work is negative energy that, became part of your operating system, or you have created through your own experiences because of your operating system, but you have made choices and decisions that have been negative or negatively impacted you. And now with all of that, your shadow is coming up to say, okay, it's time. It's time to get back into the authentic version of you that you came into this life experience to be. So we're going to, spirit is going to start bringing things to your attention that you can either continue to ignore. And to be honest with you, if you're going through a period of shadow, they're not going to let you ignore it. Spirit brings you the messages you need, not you want. They bring the messages you need until you receive it. So for some of you, this shadow work has been wanting to be implemented, or you've been going through it because Spirit keeps bringing you what you need. And yes, it's uncomfortable. And yes, it feels not great at times. But on the other side of that is everything that you're desiring, everything that you deserve. And so you have to walk through this fire. You have to walk through this isolating journey. You have to give yourself the space and the grace that you need to really change, transform into the higher version of yourself. And for those of you that are going through it, this is your validation. Keep going. For those of you that are just beginning it, it's okay. You're not alone. And we are here to help you to continue to move through this journey. But the very first step is working on being present. When you're doing something, are you thinking about 3 other things? When you're talking to someone, are you letting your mind think about the email, think about the text message, think about where you're going to go eat, right? Try to really listen to when people speak to you, listen to them. When you have these other thoughts come up into your mind, it's almost like you want to put a partition up, like, nope, not thinking that right now. I'm going to really lock in to what I'm doing, who I'm talking to, or what is around me right now. I'm gonna lock into the presence that is in my physical experience right now, right? That will start to change how you make decisions. That will start to change how you feel. A lot of anxiety is created within us because we're so worried or focused on things that are outside of our um, they're outside of our condition, they're outside of our ability to do anything about it, right? But if you stay in the present moment, you can bring your anxiety down because you're going to start tackling the things that you can affect, you can change. And so it's so important when you're in your shadow, this will be one of those skills that you will carry on after shadow work, but it will absolutely help you to recognize what you're experiencing, what spirit is bringing you, what is coming up that you are not wanting to look at. Let's be real. Shadow work is hard. Things are going to come up and hit you in the face that you don't want to look at. You don't want to acknowledge that you do certain things, right? That you don't want to have to address or admit. Let's face it, right? But this is why it's coming up, because it's gotten you into this negative deficit where you don't have the energy, you don't have the money, you don't have the time, you don't have the space emotionally. If you're coming into shadow work, chances are your emotional body, it's already full. There's no more room to shove anything else in. And emotions are energy. And just because you shove it down doesn't mean it's not there. It's just down very, very far. And so for many of you, it's this emotional body that things are starting to pop out because there's no more room, right? And so now they have to be transformed. They have to be changed. They have to be forgiven. They have to be released. And this is what shadow work is all about. Really looking at where you have been getting in your own way. And we hate to admit that. We hate to admit that we've been doing it to ourselves. We want to point the finger at someone else. And shadow work is all about looking at the duality within you, the light and the dark within you, giving yourself the grace for the light and giving yourself the space and the forgiveness for the dark, right? And it's okay. You're going to be okay. You really will. Because on the other side of all of this work is the things that you've been trying to manifest, the things that you do deserve, and all of the ways in which that you can then get onto working your light, being the light worker you came to be, being on mission, because the darkness has been pulling you off that mission the whole time. The darkness, the evil that is out there do not want you to shine your light. They do not want you to help others shine their light. They do not want you to raise the vibrational frequency of those around you, of the planet, of yourself, because it makes their job harder. And that's exactly what we're here to do. So that is shadow work. And you are going to make it through. But being present in every moment is where you start. And then you continue that with setting the boundaries and giving yourself the space and the grace when you need it. So thank you for being here. Thank you for the likes, the shares, the hearts. Thank you for the comments. I truly appreciate reading your comments and how this is helping you or educating you. So this is the mission. And thank you for being here. Have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your day, your week, your month, your night. I'm sending you so much love and so many blessings. And we'll talk soon.